talk is meaningless to me. It's meaningless. So 2 years ago, my wife and I went to lunch. So we go to lunch like every Wednesday and or Thursday. And so where we live is, I mean, one of the safest places on the planet, knock on wood. But anyway, so we were going to lunch and we pulled into a parking spot, and I got out of the car and then I looked behind me, and then there was a guy laying in a pool of blood. Like, so you don't usually see that in my neighborhood, but uh, was a journalist for 20 years in Chicago and that area, so witnessed and reported on shootings and all that stuff. So I yelled at the guy. I'm like, "Hey, have you been shot?" Which is something in my neighborhood you don't you don't ask that. And then he goes, "Yeah." And then there was a guy in the car with him who said, "Yeah, my friend's been shot." And then that guy got into the car and drove away. I was like, that was interesting. But anyway, so then there were a bunch of people staring at it, and I'm yelling at the people. I go, "You cannot go. You got to get away from the body." He wasn't dying. He wasn't dead. He was dying though. I go, you don't go near. He called 911 because one, the guy with the gun that left could have come back and shot him. There could have been another guy in the parking lot that would have, finished the job. But most people were they were staring there like sheep. They had no idea what was going on. But I like immediately instinctively just knew. I mean, I just knew it. And then my wife, it was very interesting too, because she's a doctor. She wanted to rush in and help. And I told her, no, you can't go over there because you're not gonna get killed for this. You're not gonna do that. So it was like it's very interesting to see how 99% of the world just stared like deer in the headlights, and then my wife, who's trained to help, and then me, I'm like, it's just genetically in my blood to understand people getting shot and blood and chaos, and like, here's how to actually lead this situation.
Yeah, it's interesting. They say almost the more people that are there, there's this disbursement of responsibility. So you push it off onto someone else and you assume that they're going to pick it up. So then it's not up to you. And I just had a story pop into my mind when you were telling that hasn't come to me since it happened. So I
Mm,
was probably 8.5 months
yep.
pregnant. I was super pregnant, so it
Oh
was
man,
over, like,
this is gonna be good.
last summer, and Eric was away for, I think he might have been at Abundance, actually, but he was
Oh god.
he was gone, and it's the dead of heat in the South, and I'm,
Uh-huh.
walking around, and I have my crop top on and some leggings, and the AC guy comes over. We're getting, like, a new HVAC system put in because we bought an old
Uh-huh.
house. So the guy comes over with his
Oh no.
18-year-old son,
Oh
and
no.
they're supposed to be installing stuff on the roof, and I'm like, "Okay," and I have my toddler with me, and it's nap time, and,
Mhm.
all of a sudden, like, I'm getting my toddler ready to wind down. Someone knocks on the door. I'm like,
Oh
"Well,
no.
that's weird." It's his son. His son comes, and he just blank stare, like, no emotion whatsoever, and he's like, "My dad fell off the roof."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Is he okay?" And he goes, "I don't know." I was like,
Okay.
did you try to talk to him?" He's like, "He's not responding." I'm like,
Okay.
did you call 911?" And he's like, "No, I didn't know what to do." I'm like,
My god.
that's step 1. So I had to grab my child, throw him into the crib, so he's
Right.
crying because I didn't want him to see ambulances or
Yeah.
whatever. I had no idea what I was walking out to.
Right. Yeah.
I go out, there was a met like a like, almost like a step, and he had hit his head on it. So
Okay.
he's laying there, eyes wide open,
Right.
blood everywhere,
Right.
not responsive, not moving, and
Okay.
he's not even blinking. So I have
Right.
to go over and, I, like, feel his pulse, I feel that he's moving, I had to go
Right.
inside, grab a towel, I'm giving it to his son, I'm like, "You need to hold this on, like, his wound, don't move his neck," calling 911, all in the like, this waddling around, like, massively pregnant, and I'm not reacting, I'm just responding to everything. All the paramedics come, and I'm like, I had to clean up everything. That's what people don't realize. When accidents like this happen, like, you have to clean it up. So there's this coagulated blood everywhere that now
Right.
at me 8.5 months, I'm, scrubbing off of the cement in a 110-degree weather, and his son is just sitting there
Right.
like a deer.
Right.
And he's
Makes sense.
18. So
right.
I was
That's not gonna change.
flabbergasted.
That's humans.
I was like, "How aren't you how do you not have the
'Cause he's a human.
AQ
No, he's
to
human.
dial 911?" And I called Eric and I was like, "Honestly, I've never been in a situation like this in my life." Like, thank
Right.
God the guy lived and he's okay. It was definitely dicey for a minute,
Yeah.
but you don't know how you're gonna show up in that situation until it happens, and I
Right.
was, like, I was shocked. I was just shocked that I was just focused and able to just execute on whatever had to be done.
See, here's what's interesting about you to me is that you're surprised at yourself all the time. None of this surprises me at all. I mean, this is logical. This is what I mean. Like I see the patterns and like I knew more. I think I understand you better than maybe you understand yourself with that. Like, of course you're gonna I mean, the trauma and that you've overcome, like you're the ultimate strong and self so like uh, that's perfectly logical. Like I mean, but that's most humans that would just stare. Like, can you imagine? This is not funny, but can you imagine like someone close to you that happening and you're just staring and like you knock on someone's door and you're
No.
like, but that's most humans. That's why I don't talk to them because it's a pointless. And so, oh yeah, so one of the I haven't written it yet. I'm not going to yet because I'm waiting for the second company to take off. But then the whenever I write a third book, it'll be called Epic Family, right? Because like, oh, my wife's like joining the second company, and like it's I put family first. Like, why wouldn't you do that? But like one of the chapters will be it'll be something like blame the umpire and other things visionaries don't do. So like our kids are both really good athletes and then they're in travel sports and like travel baseball, travel soccer, both really good runners, flag football. And then so you have to go out into the human world for these things. Like it's not all people. In fact, there's no one else like us really. So you see how humans act like for hours at a time and then like 10-year-old 10, it's funny because I'll write a chapter about it, but 10-year-old baseball, you see the humans blaming an umpire in a 10-year-old, and then the worst part is that the humans blame the umpire and then the children of the humans see them blaming the umpire, so then they start to blame the umpire. And then my kids start to blame the umpire. I go, no, 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 no. People with weak mindset blame the umpire. People with strong mindset, the visionary, they take accountability for their own actions. So I'll turn it into a lesson for them. But it's hilarious to see how human world works like that. But that's most of the world. Like when you go, when you leave your house and go out into whatever you're doing, you see how they act. But the deer in the headlights, like that's human society. That's what it is, and it's not a bad or good thing. It's just that's just how their brains are.
And I feel like this is a great opportunity for people to just introduce calculated risk taking and stress so that they can
Yes,
better handle it if something happens.
that's a good
Whether
idea.
that's like go into a sauna or jump into an ice bath or go do a really serious workout, right? Something that makes you
Right.
feel like I'm gonna die, right? Like I just did the assault bike this morning at the gym.
Not 8.5 months pregnant. I
No, 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 I am not pregnant.
I know.
No, but yeah, did the assault bike, and I was like, "I'm gonna die," and sometimes you
Good.
need a little bit of that to, like, get out the energy and then be able to
Yes.
deal with customer service or whatever it is that's gonna someone cutting you off in traffic, and it's not gonna take everything away from you because you've already worked something out that is much bigger than that.
Well, calculated risk is the key. Like most people, they never take any risk. They don't even a 10 quick start will they don't they'll do it, a 9 quick start will almost do anything. An 8 quick start, 8 and 7s are in the calculated risk area. When you get below a 7, very, 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 very little risk. 5-year goal, it's on our vision board upstairs. I guess it would be 4 years from now. I want to swim with great white sharks in a cage. That'll be fun.
What? That
Yeah,
is
well,
not a calculated
sure it
risk.
is. You're
Did
in a
you see
cage. You're in
No,
a
no,
cage.
no, no, no. Did you see that video with the guy in the plexiglass cage?
Oh, it'll be fine. Yeah. See. Okay. So
It was not fine.
I can't wait. I can't wait to do. I jumped out of an airplane with a parachute a couple of years ago. They didn't put a They didn't put a helmet on me. The
Oh
guy
my
who I was strapped to, he had a helmet on, but I didn't. And then I want the time I'm like truly at peace is like when I'm driving my car really really fast. Sometimes with children in the car. and it's a lot of fun. But that's a calculated risk, and I'm a safe driver, very focused. But that's actually when I focus the most because you're
Mhm.
like totally focused on the task at hand. And so skydiving was totally focused, driving really fast, really focused. I think shooting the Asian carp with bow and arrow, that'll be total focus. That'll be an interesting thing to see how my kids enjoy that as well.
I wanna look that up.